They call me nickname Bull. That's my nickname on the river all them years. I forgot to tell you that.
Bull, you said?
Yeah, Bull,
Okay.
Bull, and they
All right.
took the other four letters off of there.
Roger on that. We will.
That's what. Yeah, that's about my nick. That's my river name. To be honest with you, was Bull. Most
Okay.
people never even knew my real name.
All right. Well, then I will re-record that one. Let's do it again.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That'd be all right.
Welcome back to Between the Levees. I'm joined today by retired mate Stephen Bull Graham. Spent 33 years in industry, began in '89 with Agri-Trans, was acquired by Artco shortly thereafter, and spent his last about 20 years on the American Beauty. Bull, welcome to the show.
Well, how are you?
I'm doing great, bud.
Well, right on. Right on. Yeah, I'm doing all right too, being a good boy and staying home on a Saturday evening.
About what?
That's a rarity.
Two whole years retired now, you said?
Right at August be 2 years. Yep. So I'm working on it.
Let's start a little different than I had planned to. Where'd this Bull nickname come from? I heard you knocked off a few letters off the tail end of it.
Well, let's put it this way and turn this TV off because it's bothering me. But that ain't that wrong button. It started out as far as I really would have to ask old retired mate Ronnie Hart, which that'd be a good one to talk to too. He was the one that trained me, him and on them co-op ambassador. But I think it started out as a joke because when I started out there, I was like 137 pounds, toothpick, and I had a temper like a bull. I'd get mad as hell over nothing, and I mean, but God dang, the first time I picked up a ratchet, it just about fell over with it. That's how heavy that sumbitch was. But anyway, I did that for usually within 3 months. You go from inexperienced pay to experienced pay. Well, I went 3 whole months or 3 trips, excuse me, 3 trips. And guess what? Showing any improvement. Well, Ronnie, we call him Father Time there, but Ronnie Hart, good guy from Pocahontas, Arkansas, looked at me when I got on a boat and he said, Bull, he said, you're either going to have to show us something this trip, or we're going to have to let you go because honestly, I don't think you've got what it takes to work out here. That was his exact words. And he'll tell you to this day, if you talk to him, that it was like a light switch went off on me. And I'm one of them, you tell me I can't do something, well, I'm going to show you I can. And I did. It was like I was a whole different person. And I caught on how to, I'm an upper river man, Ohio River, Illinois, all the locking rivers I've done, that our boats were allowed to go on. There ain't much I can't do when it comes to locking. But the line handle is the most important part because we always had to check the head in southbound and this and that. We didn't have tugs all the time like they got now. But man, it was stressful. It was all rigging. There wasn't winches. I mean, it was a tough job. But I went from 137 to up to 175 pounds all within like a couple of years. Not only did you work hard, but damn, you ate good too. I mean, 3 meals a day plus snacks, this and that. It's not hard to put on a little weight out there. Even the guys that are, into this working out stuff when they're off and all that, they got a tendency to put on weight because the food's too damn good and it's too readily available. But anyway, I worked on that boat for a while and with Ronnie Hart was my mate and was it Olin Wilson, another one from Arkansas, was my other mate. And a few other guys on there and so on down the line. But anyway, I ended up transferring to the American Beauty and rode it, for a couple of years. Got a watchman's job on there. Was a watchman on the Beauty for 4 years approximately. Worked with a lot of good people on there too. Got moved up to mate. My first mate's job took place during the pilots agree, and I think that was 96 that took place is when the pilots went on strike, pilots and captains and all that. I don't know if you were aware of that. I got a mate's job on a New Dawn, caught it up there at Black Hawk Fleet because it wasn't Lock 14. And we went down to Black Hawk Fleet and tied off because they didn't have enough wheelmen to steer the boats or none of that stuff. So we sat there for 2 weeks tied off in the fleet. And I was mate on New Dawn for 5 years. And they were doing a lot of moving around and getting rid of people in this, what do you call that, downsizing, or getting rid of the problem makers, guys that didn't want to catch the boat on time, getting off early, not doing their time, making a problem for the company. They don't like that. They like you go get on the boat when you're supposed to. You do your time. You go home. They don't like people making excuses why they can't come back. They don't like when you're wanting to get off early unless it's an emergency or something. Well, anyway, they end up one of the mates on the new Dawn ended up getting released, and that's who I replaced. But anyway, I rode it for 5 years, and they started downsizing. They got rid of a guy on a beauty, and I can remember the crew dispatcher who was Jim Doherty at the time called me up and he said, "Bull," he said, "we're gonna don't say nothing, but we're gonna be sending you to the American Beauty." And I'm like, "Well, great." I said, "That's the boat I came off of." And he said, "Well, you ought to be familiar with it." I said, "Yeah, I am, because American Beauty for an upper boat is a luxury liner. Between them and his sister boat, the Crimson Glory, they're big boats. You got your own room. You share a bathroom. Guys on watch, you're off watch. You got your own room, community bathroom between you two. And they're just a lot nicer boats than most of them, but they're also a pain in the ass to keep up. A lot of painting. God dang, there's a lot of painting on them boats. And that I don't regret, I don't miss any of that stuff because that was a pain in the ass. But anyway, rode that boat for years. I've seen so many people fail drug tests, so on down the line, because they do random on that, and which they should. But a lot of people have lost their jobs over failing drug tests and so on down the line. And quitting, it's not a job for everybody. It's either it's in your blood or it isn't. It's a tough way of life. What gets you is, and most of them I tell you that is the time off. You work at the time I started, it was 30-30. And yeah, you're 30 days off. Shit, you eat that stuff up. But you're also working 84 hours a week when you're on a boat. And that's what I try to explain to people at home. I said, I'm working 2 months in a month out there. You're putting in 84 hours a week. That's a lot of hours. And you're freaking tired. Your sleep schedule's horrible. You don't get normal sleep out there. You're lucky if you get 3 hours sleep each time you're off, so you get 6 hours total a day. That's what I was averaging. So I was walking around sleep deprived pretty much all the time. But you come home, and if you act normal, it's fine. But it's it's a tough life to have and have a wife and kids, because you sure got to have a lot of trust in her whenever you're gone like that. And so far, I've been 0 for 2 on the marriages, and it wasn't all their fault, but a lot of it was mine, how I acted when I came home. I like to drink a little bit. And, the stress of being a boss out there is tough enough. But then when you come home, it's hard to separate the two. And I don't know, you've never been in that situation, but it's tough to do. It's tough to shut it off. So you come home and you start drinking, and one thing leads to another. So now you're stuck paying child support and all this and la, la, la. But I'm over all that now, so that's good. But both my kids have turned out real well, and I'm proud of them. So it might have sucked at the time, but they're doing good. But anyway, as far as river life goes, I was going to tell you, like I said, they give most of the credit out there, and we'll just get right to the point, to the guys that steer the boat. You know what I mean? And rightly so to a certain extent, but they're not what makes that boat look good. It's my position and a deck crew who paints that boat, chips it, does all the freaking hard work to make that boat look good, and vice versa. The chief engineers, they've got a shit ton of responsibility. And our boat, Donnie Collins and Bill Murphy were the chiefs on my boat, and that engine room was immaculate all the time. They took care of that sucker. One of the nicest looking one on the river. And I got a lot of comments on the beauty because we tried our best to keep it up. That boat was built in 1968. So it's only a couple years younger than I am. So I'm 58. No, yeah, I'm 58. That boat's 56 years old. And it just finally came out of the shipyard here a few months ago, as I'm good friends with one of the captains on there. And they redid the hull on it. They did all kinds of work to that boat. So I guess they're expecting it to be around for another 25 years or so. But anyway, if you got any questions, throw them at me, brother. Because I'd rather you ask me something. That way, instead of me preaching like I'm running for Congress or something.
It makes my life easier when you just talk. But
I know, but it's
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Did you not have any interest in wheelhouse or engine room?
Well, that's the thing there, and then now that we brought that up, yeah, I did. I believe it or not, I went down and went to the school. My mistake was you turn in all your paperwork, you get a letter, how they used to do it, that says you can go down and test. Well, me being a dummy, I had that letter for probably It's good for a year. I had it for 10 months. Well, I ended up starting to go through my divorce, my first wife. And between that and going down there trying to pass them tests, this and that, the stress was just too much. You know what I mean? It's hard to go down and better yourself. And what sucks is I passed everything down there except the damn, I think it was the rules of the road. And I never went back. Why, I don't know. And nothing against it, but being in a wheelhouse ain't all what it's cracked up to be. The money's good. Oh God, they're paying them guys some serious money. And but damn, it'll make an old man out of you real quick. I've seen mention any names, but I've seen a guy get up there within 5 years of like he aged 15. Just the stress and sitting in the dark at night all the time, this and that. And I take my hats off to him. All you're looking at the radar, searchlights, this and that. The shit's tough. It is. But the pay difference between the lowest person on the boat to the highest is so much different, such a huge gap. It ain't like that on ocean going ships out there. We've had a couple of them come ride the boats out there, and they couldn't believe the pay difference between the highest paid one and the lowest paid. He said that's ridiculous. He said on them ships, he said there ain't but a $30,000 difference between the big guy and the lowest person on the vessel. He said here you're talking $100,000 or more. He said that is crazy, and I said yeah, the wages have gotten completely out of hand up there for the wheelmen and the chief engineers, but the deck crew from the mate down, all we get's little scraps is what I call it. And yeah, Artco paid good money. They paid a lot better than the rest of them. But the hours we put in, the work that we do, we should be get. I ain't no doubt for a mate out there on the river, especially with Artco, the responsibility they have with the paperwork, the computer work. We had to do the evaluations. We had to fill out all the paperwork. If somebody got hurt, we had to fill all that out, do the investigations, give them the drug test, order the stuff. I mean, paint, you name it, whatever it was, we had to do all that. There ain't no reason why them guys out there shouldn't be making close to 6 digits a year just the position they're in. The wheelmen are making over 200 grand a year, but there ain't no reason why a mate should be making $100,000 out there. And I ain't talking with Arco, I'm talking all of them because the responsibility, I know the responsibility Arco put on our mates, it was a lot. And I thought it was a hell of a lot more than what it should have been. Because if they got rid of somebody in the office with Arco, they turn around and put it all on the mates out there. Like our ordering stuff, if we needed something, we filled out requisition, whatever it was, we sent it in. Somebody in the office did all the computer stuff and sent it on its merry way. Well, she ended up retiring, so let's make us do it. So not only do we have to take care of the boat 24/7, but we also sit down and do all the ordering and stuff and make sure that that's getting done. Make sure that your first aid kit's all up to date. Make sure everything's up to date. Plus, try to get the other shift and your guys make sure the boat's maintained. And that's a tough thing to do. You got more stuff to do, and you got hours in a day to do. And it's to me, I thought the pay scale, we get $6-7 a day pay raise while they're giving everybody else $34 pay, and I didn't think it was right. I just got burned out on it, to be honest with you. I just got tired. I got tired of riding a boat for a living, and I knew my time was up. You just got the feeling that it's time for her to get out of the game before the game takes you out. And sometimes some things it didn't bother me. I started getting jittery over stuff I've been doing for years, like a line breaking and hit me. That never bothered me. But for some reason, I just got this bad feeling that it's time for me to, just call it quits. So I put on my paperwork, and one thing led to another. Here I am. And I'd say right off bat, I ain't ever even unpacked my suitcase yet. I took it and put it in my room, and the stuff's still in it. I've never taken a thing out of it. I lived out of a suitcase for 30 something years, and what's in there, I don't know why I haven't got rid of it, but I guess maybe one day, maybe the old river god will come pick me up and throw me on a boat. Hey man, we need a mate on a boat. You want to do it? I bet I could still go out and do it, but do I want to? No. But anyway, so ask me some questions, man, because I'll get to rambling on like, damn, I'm on crack or something.
I appreciate the rambling, man. Well, actually, the way I found you, I happened across a comment on Facebook, and I'm having trouble finding it right now. But a guy named Miles Hall chimed in and referred to you as the Artco motivational speaker.
Well,
fill me in on this guy and that moniker for you.
well, I worked with Miles on a beauty. He was we call a deckoneer, aka oiler deckoneer. Do the deck part, go back in the engine room and do whatever the chief wanted him to do. He had two jobs, getting paid for one, and now he's a full blown, I think, oiler assistant engineer. I'm not real sure, which is good. But anyway, he would just said that to be a smart ass because I got away with words, I guess, in a good way or a bad way. But I'm one of them that kind of got in your ass if I thought you were slacking. I didn't cut no bones about it. If I thought you were slacking or half-assing something, I'd get in your ass. Because I was brought up the old way. When I was slacking, they got in my ass. And it wasn't a nice way. I mean, they flat out let you have it. Well, I had a tendency to do that too. But this is a new day and age of a bunch of snowflakes, so you had to watch how you did it and who you talked to like that. Because if you talked to the wrong person, next thing you know, your butt was in a ringer. So, but yeah, he was just doing that to be a smart ass. But I'm glad he did, and I'm talking to you, man. So it's pretty cool. That's
Yes,
another one
sir.
you got to talk to. You got to ask him. Hell, he could talk to you a little bit. He just had a little boy and this and that, and that's a tough thing to do. Be away from your kids because look at my daughter. She's 30 something years old, and I've only was home half her life, if not even that much. That's another thing you look at. River job's not for everybody. Look, you're gone half the time. So your kids grow up in front of you. 1 minute they're little, next minute you're like, holy crap, where'd the time go? But I guess that's like that any other job. At least bank job, I'm home every day. If something comes home or something comes up, I'm here. But is life any better working that than it is on a river? Flat out, no. No, it isn't. The only difference is I'm not riding a boat 30 some days. I got a little bit more control over things because I'm here all the time. When you're riding a boat for a living, you have a lot of faith in somebody else, paying your bills and stuff. Now everybody does it online, this and that, but you don't need anybody home taking care of it for you. You do it all online. But back in the day, it wasn't like that. Man, so on down the line, but you got to have people look after your stuff and this and that while you're gone. When you're home all the time, you ain't got to worry about that stuff. But anyway, Miles would probably be a good one. Ronnie Hart, definitely. That's the one. If I'll look him up on Facebook or Messenger. Ronnie Hart. They call him Father Time. He was the first week. Artco's got a training barge for new hires, this and that. And he was in charge of when it started. And he was there for quite a while. And he just retired here. Shit, I don't know, several years ago. But he was a mate for holy crap. I couldn't tell you how many years. 40 plus, probably longer than that. But yeah, that'd be a good one to talk to. He could definitely give you some serious insight because he's seen it all. Man, he trained me, so he could probably tell you more about me than I can.
Well, I'll reach out to him here soon.
I got a lot of respect for Ronnie, and I really do. And another one to bring up, and I don't even know if the old boy's still alive or not, is Eddie James from Bass Spring, Tennessee. He was the mate on a beauty when I was watchman, and he sure in the hell he helped me out a bunch. That was one of the hardest working men I ever met in my life. Here he was in his damn late 50s, early 60s, and he could outwork 20-something-year-old. And he was quick, and man, that dude was in shape. But yeah, that's another good one right there. This is water, Tim. Good old farmers.
Yes, sir. I've got some too here. Let's back up. I think if my math is right, you were born in 67?
66, February 4th, 1966. Yes.
Well, fill me in on your life from 1966 until I guess 83, 84 when you joined the Navy.
Oh Lord, typical kid. Goddamn. Loved playing baseball. I was all conference, all district my senior year, and if I'd have done better at school, I might have had it cracked to play college ball. I ain't sure. Everybody seems to think so, but that's neither here or there. So I joined the Navy. What was it? May 18th to 19. No, I went in July 24th of 84. Went to boot camp up in Great Lakes, Illinois. A school out of San Diego. And ended up getting shipped over to the flagship of 7th Fleet for 2 years, the USS Blue Ridge, LCC 19 out of Japan. which is still the flagship as far as I know over there. It's a communication ship. Was on there for 2 some years, all over Southeast Asia. I've been, she whiz, Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, and I'm missing another. Oh, Korea. What the hell is Malaysia? And I'm missing one more in there, and I can't remember what the hell it is. Make a long story short, ended up leaving there, going to a CB battalion, NMCB 40, which they got decommissioned in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. Went back to California. They had whole different uniforms back there between the ships and the CB battalions. You had fatigues in the CB battalions, and you had your dungarees in the Navy. The ship parts. I had to get all different uniforms. Did all that. Got indoctrinated in the CB way of doing stuff, and got shipped over to Spain. So I spent 6 months in Spain over there, man, which was fine. Came back to California. Rode to Spain's where I was at. Shipped back to California. Started getting a little trouble and this and that, and luckily I didn't get kicked out of the Navy because I should have. But anyway, got long story short, went back to Guam. It was Guam, I don't know, maybe a month and a half, and got discharged with honorable discharge, knock on wood. But so I came back to the States, stayed out in California 4 or 5 months living with somebody, and come back to Missouri, end up going to Illinois. Anyway, I went through a lot of crap. I've been through a lot of shit, but most of it was self-induced. But I'm here still alive to talk about it, which a lot of people I knew never made it through all of that. So knock on wood. So anyway, so yeah, the river pretty much saved me. That's the only steady job I had since I got out of the service. To be honest with you, it was worth the shit. But like I said, it's so hard to get on out there, and and it's probably no better today. Everything today's on computers, and I know Artco is. You got to go to that www.adm.jobs, I guess, external candidate or something like that, and it's really a pain in the butt. So if you get a job on the river, you better knock on wood because it's difficult. But anyway, other than that, I did it for 30 something years, retired, and now I'm sitting here talking to you.
Well, what was your MOS in the Navy, and then how did you find yourself in the
Well, to be
maritime
honest
industry?
with you, what I did in the Navy, I went in, I wanted to go in as a hull technician because I did vocational welding in high school. But they had 6 months to a year waiting list to go in like that. And I said, I'm not waiting 6 months to a year. I mean, when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to do something. Well, I've been talking to the Air Force recruiter, the Marines, Navy, never did talk to the Army. Anyway, I called the guy up one day. I was having, I don't know, at home there, shit got a little difficult. You know, you get out of high school and then all of a sudden they expect you to go out and find a job and all this and kind of get on your ass because reality sets in. There ain't no more free ride. Now it's time to join the real world. So I called the recruiter up and I said, I'm ready to go. He said, like, when? And I said, like, as soon as possible. I'll be goddamn if he didn't. The next day, he took me up to St. Louis and I went through the MEP station up there, did all my paperwork, came back home that afternoon and looked at my mom. She goes, when you leaving? I said, tomorrow. It was that quick. I went in as a striker, is what they call it. And with no, whatever, I forgot the name of it. MOS, nothing. You just go in as a striker. So I went up to boot camp, did all the paperwork and this and that. Really, the only thing they had going on at the time was they call it a mess management specialist. I don't think they call it anymore. Basically, it's a cook, but there's more to it than just cooking. Everybody thinks that's all you do. That's wrong. So went to A school for that. I was number 2 in my class. Thank God, because I've been number 1. I'd got an E4 rating right out of A school, and they were going to ship you anywhere they wanted to ship you. You know, number 2, I pretty much got the best orders out of everybody in my class. I got to go to a flagship. Nobody goes to a flagship straight out of A school. I did. Knock on wood. Yay. But anyway, I did that. And basically, I cooked a little on that ship. That's a job. And when you're underway, you're working 16 hours a day. But I also was good with paperwork. So I started doing all the ordering and stuff, sitting in the desk and ordering supplies and, the food and so on down the line. I did it for a couple of years and tried to stay on there, but send me different orders, ended up going to CB battalion, which was cool. CB battalion gets to shoot guns. See, I wasn't brought up shooting guns. There, I learned how to do all that, and I was pretty good at it. So that was one thing I learned because I've never stopped doing that. But I was there for a couple of years and decided it wasn't for me because I was getting in trouble in there and had to go to captain's mess. And I just told him, I said, I've had enough. Had enough. I said, went out of your service, went honorable discharge, whatever you got to do. And by God, that's what I got. So come home and then you have to start all over again. So then I got to dabbling in the finer goods, if you know what I'm talking about on that, which wasn't good at all. Got in a little trouble over that, and my parents kind of saved my butt in the long run on that one. So I realized it's time to straighten my shit up, start going out and trying to find a good job. And knock on wood, the rivers probably did save my life. It did because it was steady work, great insurance, and I love working out there. I did for a while because you'd work hard, but you could have fun too. You know, you work your butt off and you may have a poker game that evening for a couple hours or this and that. Well, they don't do any of that shit anymore. You know, it got real strict real quick. And, but yeah, it was fun a while, but then all this, I don't know, you get moved up, I guess the higher up you go, the more stress you end up having, more responsibility. And God dang, man, here you are trying to counsel these younger kids asking you questions and you're explaining, talking to them, and you're going, I can't even handle my own shit. And here I'm trying to tell you what to do, but I guess I helped a few of them out. A lot of them are still out there that, I put in. Actually, the last one was Joe Kittner. That's another one that works for Artco. That'd be a good one to talk to. But yeah, he was the last one I put in for a promotion, and he got moved up here probably about 8 months ago or so. And yeah, Kittner, is it Kent? Anyway, Ketner. Kittner. That's what his name is, Joe. He's from down southern, way down there in Missouri. But anyway, yeah, it's I don't know how to explain it. Ain't real good. My memory comes and goes on stuff, but I had a good time. I worked with a lot of good people out there, and I also worked with a lot of not so good people. And never really had a problem with anybody as far as that went, but just a couple of them. But usually the I call the shitheads end up weeding themselves out over a period of time. The ones that like to try to ice skate uphill, because there's a system out there. You either do it the right way, or you don't do it at all. Well, usually the ones that don't want to do it the right way, they weed themselves out in the long run. You know, but you know what I'm talking about on that. But anyway, yeah, if you got any questions, brothers, let her rip.
Well, how did you find your way into the industry?
The industry there, believe it or not, huh, boy, it's gonna be on. Yeah, I'll get it out in the open. I was in rehab in Cape Girardeau at a Gibson Center because I had a cocaine problem. When I came out of Chicago up there, I had a problem with the nose candy. And I went to rehab down at the Gibson Center, and one of the guys that was in there worked on the river, or used to, and got to talking about it. Well, it kind of caught my attention. So he gave me a couple of numbers, and actually, numbers I tried to call up, one of them was Spivey Marine up there it's up there in the goddamn the canal up there on that Illinois River, way up there. And I couldn't get a bite for nothing. But it stayed on my mind. And then, like I said, when I was working for Gilster, this older lady that was in there, older lady, hell, she was my age at the time that I am now, but back then that's old. Give me a number for Agri-Trans. Well, the rest is history. But like I said, it took me putting down a Captain Don Bader, which I knew his son Mike. But my mom and dad mentioned Don Bader because he was renowned person there in the community and a good old boy. And I called him up and he said, yeah, you can use me as a reference. And it was almost like, bam, there it went. As soon as I put that man on that thing there, I was getting phone calls from Agri-Trans, Connie Carriers, ACBL, all of them. And Agri-Trans was the first one to actually take me on, and that's who I went with. Because the next day, ACBL called me and said, I already got a job with Agri-Trans. Clicked, they hung up on me. Well, I think I made the right call on that, and the rest is history. But God dang, you get thrown on a boat December of 1989 was one of the worst winters on record. December and January the following year was one of the worst winters on record, and I made it through there. God, I was scared to death. Fucking snow, cold, holy shit. I wasn't ready for any of that shit. And I came home and I told my dad, I said, I just don't think I can handle this. And he said, well, there ain't nothing happening around here. You might want to give it another, go out there for another trip and see what happens. So I did. I mean, it started getting better, but like I said, I just wasn't catching on, or maybe I needed somebody to put a foot in my ass. And that's what Ronnie did. He pretty much put a foot in my ass in a nice way because he's a nice guy. But he told me, so I just don't think you got what it takes. You're going to have to show me something, or we're going to have to let you go. And well, the rest is history. So if you do talk to him, bring it up because yeah, he'll definitely remember that because I'm one of them type of people you don't forget. But he could probably explain to you more where my nickname came from than I can. Because, it started out, I don't know, off that, I guess, the movie Bull Durham, I guess, because I played baseball and we were watching that. And I don't know what it was. Some bullshit, bull socks or something they started calling me, or bullshit might have been. But anyway, all the four letters got disappeared and just bull stuck with me. So everybody started calling me bull. And believe me, I ain't built like no freaking bull. There's guys out there that look like one, not me. Here you got this guy, 100, well, I ain't 175 pounds anymore. I'm 223. I'm a little bit bigger than that. But yeah, I ain't no bull. There's guys out there deserve that name. I didn't, but they gave it to me, and that's all they knew. That's what they called me on the river. All the big wigs called me that. The office people, you name it, that's what they call me. Bull, bull. Most of them didn't even know my real name. But but other than that, yeah, anything else? Go ahead, fire, brother.
Yeah, tell me about stepping out on deck for the first time in the worst winter on record.
Oh Lord, man, hell, they were still, goddamn, what's the name of that freaking lock up there? Well, Mel Price took his place. It was lock, we got 20. It was lock 26. It's up there at Alton. That was a double lock at the time there, and that was the first lock I ever made. And I mean, it took us 4 something hours to make that son of a bitch, and we had 2, 3 feet of snow on the gunnels. I mean, it snowed and we were knocking the boat out. And back then they didn't have these damn, I call them jump ropes. They had regular steel, face wires. Here you are, this little shit trying to pick that up on that slick deck. I was scared to freaking death because you ain't but 5 foot wide standing there and you're looking down at the water and you're grabbing hold of that freaking wire and it's cold as hell and you're holding on to the cover top like that trying to pull that. And yeah, it made my asshole pucker up. I ain't gonna lie about it. And but like I said, that whole trip just scared the living shit out of me. I ain't gonna lie about it. Here you out there busting these wires up with these damn ratchets with these big old sledgehammers, fucking ratchets flying this and that and all this. They didn't really have the safety stuff they got today out there. Jumping up and down from loads or empties to loads. There wasn't no ladders out there. You either climbed up the wire or you jumped. And did that for freaking years. That's probably why my knees are shot. But anyway, that was just the way it was back in them days. But yeah, them first couple of trips were some of a bitch. I didn't have the right gloves. I didn't have the right boots. I didn't have anything that was worth a shit because they didn't really tell you what to bring. But it didn't take long to figure out what you needed after that. I know that. God dang. Yeah, I was scared to death. I ain't gonna lie about it. And the first time I picked a ratchet up, holy shit. Now, them things were averaging at times 65 pounds, and some of them steamboat ratchets were 100 pounds. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of weight for a little skinny son bitch to pick up at the time. Now, dude, it ain't nothing. Yeah, back then, it's a man's job. That's not a job for no candy ass. That's a man's job out there. And there's still some companies that's all rigging. There's no winches or none of that. But even the winches, even with Artco getting winches on bar, them some bitches they're almost as bad as I'd rather lay damn regular rigging than I would mess with a winch. Because you can get better leads and they're a hell of a lot tighter than winches will ever be. But anyway, they're saving money on the rigging part, I guess, and it speeds up things, but your toes not as tight. I don't really think they're all that great, but it saves on fleet time as far as turnaround and all that. And that's what it's all about. It's the bottom line, it's money, and it saves time and wear and tear. But god dang, before I retired, the the damn 35 wires we were getting were freaking weighing more than the winch wires were. And the winch wires were 50-foot long. You're 35 feet long. And there's so much weighing more than them 50-foot long winch wires. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, so they're basically going back to the old way in a roundabout way and not realizing that they're actually making them 35s bigger and heavier. Why, I don't know. But, and then the ratchets are weighing less. You got these green ratchets out there. They don't weigh shit, but yet you got these big ass 35 wires. Of course, the straps always stay the same. But yeah, it's amazing to me. But turn around the fleets and this and that. It's all about speed and, shouldn't say speed fast, but the turnaround times have been cut in half. There's no more running electrical cords out for the lights and stuff. They're all battery or solar operated. So you just set them out there and there you go. And so you save running, damn 5 lengths of cords out on each, for the lights. So that's 1,500 or 1,200 feet of damn cord you don't have to run out. That saves about another 20 minutes, and so on down the line. If they ever figure out something with the sounders, they'd really be in the game. But other than that, so go ahead and ask me something, bud.
Yeah, you mentioned steamboat ratchets. I've heard about them in the process of doing this podcast, and of course, I know they weigh a lot more. Were they functionally different than the ratchets of today?
Yeah, it's hard to explain. You'd have to see it. The cylinder itself was bigger. Instead of having your pellet hook screwed in, they had, god dang, how did they have? I don't know. It's almost like they had extensions on there, like, man, kind of like a chain there. They were just different, and they had little brackets on the bottom of the pelican hook, like stabilizing bars is what I call them. I mean, there's a name for them. I can't think of what it is. And basically, what we use them for is we laid 90 wires. Some boats did, some didn't, but we would lay 90 wires back in the day from the center cable center, or if you got these buttons right here to the boat, they were just like backup face wires, what they were. And you would crank the shit out of them, and that was the standard for years. And you always carried 2 steamboat ratchets on there, and you always had the wires were long, and I can't remember how long them son bitches were, but you had 2 different wires, 2 wires for that and a steamboat ratchet. And you had these D rings in the deck that you hooked the other end of that ratchet into. And you laid them wires. We did that for freaking years. But they got rid of it, I guess, because they were too heavy or whatever it is. Now everybody's using these damn Kevlar or whatever they call that. You ever seen them out there? Them colored face wires and stuff. Was Kevlar? I forgot. It's got another name for it. But they're a lot easier. One person to take them off. You don't need 3 people to pull off a face wire when you got one of them. But it's all, and they're supposed to be as strong as steel. But they cut real easy. So you got to baby the suckers. Got to make sure they're not rubbing no steel or nothing. They'll cut right through like a butter knife. But yeah, anyway, I couldn't show you a picture of steam. I'd have to look that up. Steamboat ratchet. But yeah, they were just the size of them. They were just bigger and a hell of a lot heavier than the other ones. Because most of the other ones were like 65 pounds. These were every bit of 100. And they were big son of a bucks. But anyway, that's about all I remember of them. But I can't remember the last time I had to use one. Jesus Christ, they probably got rid of them 10, 15 years ago, probably. But anyway, so anything else?
Oh yeah. If you got the time, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Fill me in, man. 33 years out there. I'm sure you got some stories you can share that, especially now that you're retired.
Well, I can tell you that, god dang. Well, I've seen a few floaters in my days out there. I know that. You know what that is, don't you? That's some dead people. Just where they came from, I have no clue. But yeah, there's a couple of those. Had a guy there. We were in St. Louis Harbor building tow one morning about 3 o'clock in the morning, and pilot all that had her fleet there in mile 175, saying something about this kayaker coming down. I said, "What kayaker?" He got up above our tow. I looked around. Here we are about 600 feet from the head because we already put 2 barges in. Here comes this kayaker down 3:30 in the freaking morning, whatever time it was. There ain't nobody in the right mind goes through there. St. Louis Harbor, you don't even want to do it in the daytime. here he come kayaking. I see him trying to put on his life jacket, and we took off out there as quick as we could. We had load and empties in that tow. It was a clusterfuck. And time we got out there, he had done went under the damn tow. Now we pulled his kayak out, but he was nowhere to be found. And the coupling back from the head, we found a shoe, some dehydrated meals, and this and that. Make a long story short, they halted operation for several hours while they did a search and rescue for him. They never did find him at the time. But anyway, we finished our tow that morning. Anyway, they had taken off, and I went out there to start checking tow that afternoon when I got up, and I found his paddle in between two of our barges. And come to find out, it was a day later they found him down below JB Bridge. A guy from actually lives right outside of town there. They found him. My Lure Brothers fleet down there's the one that pulled him out. He was from up there in Iowa. He came off Des Moines River, came through fucking kayak, and pretty much died right, right there. There wasn't nothing we could do about it. Man, that's a damn shame. But that just shows you the fact just how ignorant people are of the river. Yeah, it's no joke out there. That river's no joke, and especially St. Louis Harbor, it's busy, and you sure in the hell don't want to be going through there at nighttime. And we see them pleasure boaters and this and that, and these jet skis out there running up inside the tow and this and that, coming behind the wheel wash and getting knocked off, and see the pilot kick them out of gear just to make sure the guy's okay. They don't realize the power them vessels have. And as people are ignorant to the fact that they think they can stop on a dime, well, that's not true. That's a shit ton of tonnage that you're trying to freaking back up full stern to try to stop, and fleet it or whatever. It's like a train. Trains don't stop on a dime, and neither does a towboat. Man, people out there messing around in front of it. I don't know how many times I got called out to head of tow, tell people to get out of the way. You need to move out of the way. We gotta have a channel. This is the only place we can go. You need to move. And they look at you like, you know, well, who are you? Well, that's the simple fact is my boat's bigger than your boat, and we will run over you. And our boat will still be floating, and you won't have shit. I hate to say it, but there's people that just don't respect anybody out there. And Illinois River, prime example, they had a fishing tournament up there, and I was out on the head of the tow telling them to move as we're going northbound. Move. You need to move. And they didn't give a shit. Here they just put out of the way. And I'm like, and if something would happen, it'd be the wheelman's fault. It's always the wheelman's fault for some odd reason, even though the civilians or them pleasure crafts, what they call them, do whatever they want, but they're always going to sit there and blame that wheelman up there. And to me, that's probably why they make the big bucks, because of the responsibility they have. But it's just, there's some ignorant people to the fact what them boats can do. You need to respect them. I know I do. I never thought about it like that till I got to working out there. They ain't no joke, man. Them suckers there ain't no freaking joke. Stay the hell away from them, because they got them wheels going. They got a draft, but you probably never been on a boat. You come up alongside of them, even if they're sitting still, have one engine knuckled in. It's got enough draw that you don't even really have to do anything in that boat. It will pull you over because it's sucking that water in. It'll suck you right over to the side of that boat. You imagine if you're in the water going by there, where you think you're going? You're going to be going through them props getting chopped up like catfish food. And if you're lucky enough to make it through there and not get tore up, you better knock on wood. One old guy told me, he said, you ain't a real river rat unless you actually fell in the Mississippi River. And I said, well, I guess I don't plan on ever being a real river rat, because that's my intention to ever fall in. And have I come close in a couple of years, or the years I was out there? You damn straight. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, a lot closer than I want to admit, but knock on wood, I never did. I only seen one person the entire time that I worked out here actually fall in, and he did it right in front of me. We were sitting at Quincy Fleet doing tow work, and he walked over to the side to check, because we had an uneven coupling there. One was higher than the other to make sure it was square. And he walked over and looked, and sure if he didn't fall in right there. But this big old dude, big old guy, he actually swam against the current and got right back out in the same place he fell in. Now that's really unheard of. But he did. He swam right back up, and we pulled his ass up, and he didn't get hurt. Now it was in the middle of summer. But still, that's how quick it can happen. And then you got people out there messing around that, well, I can tell you, this is a story happening up St. Paul. city front. Used to have a lot of bums, I call them, up there. Right there, we took on water. So we're waiting for barges to get filled. And it's, I don't know, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Me and another guy are standing there, and we see three of them up there, their little area, and jawing, whatever, drunk, whatever they were. Well, anyway, I heard a gal screaming. I'm like, look at my friend. I can't remember who it was. I go, I think they're fighting up there, man. About that time, the searchlight comes on. Well, one of them drunks that fell over into the water, and it was pretty cool out. Well, the other guy was fishing and just so happened to hook him with his blue jean jacket, and it wouldn't been for that guy hooking him with that guy would have drowned. Because we're tied off on the wall back there, we're not moving. He would have came right underneath us anyway. Gary Owen was a pilot. We had to put a ladder to climb up on the wall and grab a leaving line. Ran down there. By that time, the other gal had called 911. By the time I'm running down there, here comes a cop shooting in there, about hits me, gets out of his car, takes off running. He's going the wrong direction. Hey, man. So we go down there and we pull that guy out. We sit there and he grabbed a hold of that line. It took 3 or 4 of us to pull him out. And that guy, no boy, that was fishing had him hooked with his fishing, rod was holding him up. And I said, I don't know what kind of line you're using or hook. I said, but I'd keep buying that stuff. Did you just saved that old boy's life? Anyway, paramedics show up. They load him up on a stretcher. And, I'm not a Jack Daniels drinker, but the guy smelled like he drank the fifth of Jack Daniels. I mean, yeah, he was drunk. And I remember the paramedic said, you ever think maybe you had to quit drinking? He started freaking laughing. But anyway, just little stuff like that. We saved that old boy's life. If it wouldn't been for us, he'd been a goner. That and his partner hooked him somehow or another. But anyway, yeah, it's just stuff like that. And what was it there then? Oh, you see all kinds of critters in the river, deer and everything else and all that shit. And it's beautiful on the upper up there. The Mississippi don't look nothing like it does down where I live at. It's just beautiful country up there. Amazing where it starts out at. It's a little stream up in Lake Itasca and turns around into this big ass Mississippi River. It's just, to me, it amazes me. That little bitty old thing you can walk across turns into this big ass river. But it goes from one extreme to another up there, and I don't know how to explain it. We only, as far as up bend, right above Lock 2, right up St. Paul City front, 'cause we can't go any farther than that. Our boat's too big. But did a lot of work up there. The river's real narrow but pretty. A lot of boulders up there. I mean, high dollar yachts, so on down the line, and till you get down to like Keokuk, Lock 19, it starts turning a little bit darker brown because the Des Moines River dumps in it. And you get down a little farther, Illinois dumps in, into Missouri, and it turns this old nasty brown color that it is all the way down to the damn Gulf of Mexico. But it's just amazing the commerce that comes out of the Mississippi River, and it's a bunch of it. But other than that, I'm just rambling on, brother. I have to give me another drink of water.
Sure thing. What's the biggest tow you've ever had to wire together?
I had what the hell was it? 49 barges, I think, was the biggest one, and it might have been on a co-op enterprise, if I'm not mistaken. That was all empties. You wire up empties a little different. You do loads. You don't loads. You got to double up the. I think it all depends what the cab wants, but you definitely double up the first 2 couplings on load. Some of them the third coupling, but empties wise, you just if the cab wants the first coupling doubled up, that's fine. But yeah, that's a lot of barges. 49. That's 7 wide, 7 long. That's a whole lot of barges, brother. But
And how much did the office screw with your life with order revisions and things like that over the years?
well, it's screwing. What do you mean exactly?
Like changing barges, having to pick up extras that you weren't planning on, that kind of thing.
Well, it got to the point. What bad is whenever you well, say this, they got barge dispatchers. When they call you up, I've been up in the wheelhouse when they call and say, hey, can you pick up, this barge here at so and so? It's number, whatever number it is, ART, whatever, la, la, la. And the captain right there goes, well, is that a rake or a box? And when the barge dispatcher goes, well, what difference does that make? That tells you right there they have no clue what the hell they're doing. And he goes, what makes every difference in the world? There's a big difference between a rake and a box. And he goes, empty's one thing. So load, that's a whole different ball game. We may have to rearrange tow if we pick up a damn rake, a box, this and that. But whenever your barge dispatcher doesn't know the difference, there's a problem. So basically you got to teach them how to do their job. And I'm probably gonna piss some people off saying that, but it's just a fact. I don't know how many times I've freaking seen it. Call them up. Well, what, like, was that a break or a box? Well, what difference does that make? Is there a difference? Well, if they don't know a difference, what are you doing in that position? You should know all that. But that and ordering stuff, I don't know. It ain't so bad now. Now they give you, pretty much I guess you get just about what you want out there. But I've had times you've had to explain to them, why I need this, why I need that. But now they're so safety conscious, especially Artco. You mention anything to deal with safety, you're pretty much going to get it, which is good because, like your reflective coloring and jackets and the work vest and so on down the line. And, they give you a pair of boots every year and so on down. I mean, there was good points to all that stuff, but it's not as bad as what it used to be. You couldn't get anything. You had to go through, pull somebody's teeth to get anything. They give it to one boat, and they always primarily took care of the lower boats for a long time because they thought that was, here they are taking, 35, 40 barges south, loads and this and that, making the big money for them. So they pretty much got everything they wanted. I was on a B boat. We ran the upper and the lower, but we pretty much considered an upper boat, so we had to pull teeth to get the stuff we needed. Everybody, while they all down, everybody had TVs in a room, this and that. Now, finally, a couple years before I retired, they finally let everybody have TVs in the room and started getting actually satellite TV on them suckers, which is fine, which is pretty cool. But you only got a couple of channels that are worth a shit on that satellite TV anymore. All the good channels you got to pay extra money for. Well, they ain't going to do that, and I don't blame them. But there's a lot of stuff's changed since I started out there. The job's gotten, it's more, the physical part is, it's there, but ain't as bad as what it used to be. But it's, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. It's a man's job, but god dang, man, you can't really get in anybody's ass like they used to back in my day. I mean, if you messed up, you pretty much, they jump your shit. And they did it. It's a man's job. You go out there, you take butt chewing, and if rightly so, then you try not to do it again. Now you got to sugarcoat everything. And, there's, I don't know, it's a whole different ball. And it's like that everywhere. It ain't just out there. It's like that everywhere. And it seemed to me, and I'm knock on wood, I'm going to say it, hell, I'm retired. What are they going to do to me? It seemed to me that people that did their job went out there and took pride in it. They gave them more and more to do and this and that. And the ones that half-assed it or didn't really care or didn't, they'd baby the slackers is what I call it. The slackers, they let them get by with any, they took care of them. But the guys that went out there that actually work and took pride in their jobs, they actually, they kind of treat you like crap. Take it easy on him, this and that. So that means if he's going to slack on his job, that means I have to work twice as hard to get the same amount done. Not only does that upset me, but it upsets my coworkers too when they see it. And they're like, well, this ain't right. How come we get all this done and then we come back and nothing else is getting done? And I'm like, well, I don't know. We get paid when we're on here, we're going to do our jobs. I said, but yeah, it gets kind of aggravating. And, that goes on quite a bit out there. But, I did the best I could. I just got burned out, bro. I just got tired. I just sooner or later, it's when it's time to hang something up. And I still get calls every now and then from somebody or messages, asking how I'm doing and so on down the line. But we work, we do our time, but when you're gone, there's always somebody there to take your place. And you're just like what do you call that? A fart in the wind. You're there 1 minute and gone the next. That's just like any other job, brother. But there's always somebody out there, I'm sure, remembered that I work with that's got a story to tell you. And that may not be a good story, and it may not. I don't know. It may be a good story. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Well, how different was, aside from what you've already shared, how different was life out there in 2022 versus 1989?
Oh, it's a whole different ballgame. It was, man, I tell you what. First of all, you didn't have all this. Like I said, the safety part. I'm gonna knock on wood. It's a whole lot safer than what it was when I started. But you went out, we didn't never had none of this where they sent out an email saying, well, it's too hot, cut down all the work during the day because it's too hot outside, do it at night because it's too hot during the day. We never had none of that shit. You went out and worked in the shit. Hell, man, I don't know what fucking I've been out there. It's hotter than hell. You're out there working, building tow, and you come back and the cat wants to know how come you didn't get nothing done on the boat, like painting wise. Well, if you ever told him it was too freaking hot, well, I got news for you. That'd be about the last time you say that because it's just everything's changed. It's just I think they've made them kind of made them a little soft, in my opinion. And but that's just the way the new day and age is, and it's just out there. It's everywhere. But in that and the cell phones, that's another thing that you can't get people off their freaking cell phones. I mean, you think about how often you on yours. I mean, I'm on mine a whole lot more than what I'd really like to be, but hell, it's a computer. There ain't nothing you can't find on them, nothing you can't look up. But it's hard to get the people off their freaking phones. Hey man, we got a job to do, and he's over there fucking messing around, fucking looking shit up. Oh, is that the boss lady telling you to get off the thing there?
No, no, no. It was the boss. It was the boss lady, but not telling me to get off. She's anyway. Um, do you
But anyway,
mentioned the cell phones, and I had another question for you. Do you find that things like cell phones and satellite TVs, the creature comforts, you mentioned, playing poker in the evening. Do you find that those electronic creature comforts that we enjoy, obviously shoreside, did that negatively affect maybe the cohesion of a crew, the training capacity, the teamwork?
that possibly, yeah. I'm thinking, yeah, good. Yeah, most likely it has. It's just I know the only way you wrote letters back in my day for years. You either wrote letters or you had Watercom, which gee whiz, you go broke using that shit. Yeah, what it goddamn, it was $1 every time you called to hook up, and then it was 50 cents a minute. So you better put a timer on there to make sure you don't exceed this and that, or you end up with a $400 or $500 freaking phone bill. Oh yeah, there's it. But then cell phones came out and so on down the line, which is great. But like I said, to get anything done, here they are on their phones, this and that. You got your safety meetings, this and that. You tell guys, put your phones up. You don't need to have your phones on you for none of this shit. You need to be in your room or in your locker, whatever. It's just, or you catch them out on tow with them, which is absolutely no. You don't bring that shit out there on tow, none of that. There's nothing that important that you can't, somebody won't call the boat or call the company, get a hold of the boat. You don't need to have the phone on you all the time. There's nothing that important going on at home that you need to have the phone on you all the time. But I didn't pack mine around, but it was in the area. I always kept mine up in my room. Because a lot of times, now that they got Wi-Fi on these boats, this and that, even then the damn signal wasn't worth a shit. So a lot of times I leave mine up in my room there, sitting in the window, just in case somebody'd call or something would happen. But yeah, it's the younger ones, the younger kids in their early 20s, they just can't seem to go without being on that phone 24/7. When you got cleanup to do or painting to do or whatever that's required to do, and they're over there playing on their freaking phone. We got stuff we need to get done. You need to get off your phone. Well, my wife called this and that. Well, you know what? You take a break, you can call her back. But right now we got shit to do, like checking tow. Don't check tow. Get off your phone. I shouldn't have to tell you. We got to go check tow. It's the same time every day. Get off your phone. Let's go. It's just stuff like you got to baby them. And I feel like a big babysitter a lot of times out there for certain things. But then you get a good crew that do what they're supposed to do, and then you get some guys that come on there that, like I said, are always wanting to stir up shit or ice skate uphill just to try to see how far they can get away with stuff. And maybe that's why Miles Hall said that I was a good motivational speaker, because I'd be the first one to kind of get in their ass, you know what I mean? And there may be some people that don't like me, and maybe so, I don't care. You know, I mean, I got paid to do a job. Like I told somebody, I get paid to do a job out here. I ain't out here to make friends. I'm out here to get a job done. And I said, that's what we're going to do. And if you don't like it, you can go move on to a different vessel. I said, maybe it'll be easier, but it's going to be the same result. You're still getting paid to do a job. And that's what we're out here for, you know. And I took pride in it, but eventually, like I said, you get tired of doing stuff. And one day you will too. You're like, yep, I've had enough. It's time to move on or whatever. But I don't know. We've been talking for an hour yet.
Oh, close
It seems
to it,
like it.
yeah. Close
Have we
to it.
really? God
I think so.
damn, I'm telling you what, I think I need to run for Congress, man. I can jabber on and anyway. So yeah, ask me some more questions, bro.
Well, are there any incidents come to mind from 3.5 decades out there that you were involved in?
Well, let me think here. I have to go through my data bank on this one. Uh oh, yeah, there's a few fights out there, you know, this and that, and oh shoot. Uh, uh yeah, I can go through one where we had the drug dogs come on that freaking vessel. Sheriff's Department, Coast Guard, all that. And I mean, some mean ass dogs. Some reason mentioned know who it is, but some yahoo on there. I suppose they had some drugs and this and that on the vessel, and how they found out about it, I have no clue. Anyway, they showed up, the sheriff's department, with goddamn two damn, what were they, German shepherds, and mean some bitches, because they had muzzles on them and this and that. And that guy goes, well, what room is he in? I said, well, he's up. Anyway, I sent him upstairs. They were up there doing their thing, so I kind of stood up there around the hallway right there, and that dog seen me. And I tell you what, if he wouldn't have had a hold of that son of a bitch, he'd have tore me a new asshole. That dog was mean. And I'm like, I ain't doing nothing but standing. He goes, that dog don't even like me. And I said, well, God dang. But yeah, they never did find anything. And then, you know, the Coast Guard come on, all this shit, and looked around. I don't know whatever happened to that, but that was one of the few times that I've ever had the damn Coast Guard and the sheriff's department down there in Kentucky come on there looking for somebody. Now the Coast Guard, it's a regular thing out there. You got to do that subchapter M inspections and all that stuff for these boats now, which is a pain in the butt. But apparently, you know, that's another thing out there to chat my ass. You get one Coast Guard inspector come on there and everything's kosher. Then the next one comes on there and tells you this is wrong, but yet the one before him said it was okay. And I'm like, well, which one is it? I mean, you guys ain't even on the same freaking page. It's like they get a kick out of throwing their weight around. But yeah, anyway, other than that, I can't really, I'm sure there's something there, man. I just, you know, goddamn 33 years, you forget a lot of shit. But like I said, there was a few guys go at it out there, but actually it wasn't as too bad. You'd have a lot of arguing, bickering back and forth, you know, which is normal when you got a bunch of damn guys. Their tempers are going to flare, but as far as, you know, anything real bad, no, not that I can think of. Was there a lot of people I worked with that I didn't really care for? Well, absolutely. And they probably didn't care for me either, because, but we all did our jobs. And I had a few arguments and little problems over the years, and you're going to have, but you settle it, take care of it the right way, or be looking for another line of work. You know what I mean? So, other than that, I can't really complain too much. Just, I miss the food. I know that.
What was your favorite meal out there?
Well, I was always a breakfast man myself. I always loved fried potatoes. I can eat them some bitches all the time. Fried potatoes and two over easy, and I'm a pancake eating fool. Other than that, as far as the rest of it, I like steak day. We used to have it twice a week. That was another thing pissed me off. We used to have it on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and they just went to one day, you know, which is fine. But I always loved steak and hamburgers. Of course, Friday's fish day. But as far as the rest, whatever they want to whip in there. And then it turned out Taco Tuesday, that got to be a regular thing. which I guess is okay. But as far as and when there's some damn good cooks out there, I mean, some freaking good ones, and there's some that ain't so good. But you know what? None of us are starving out there. I promise you that much. But
Any other highlights or lowlights to share that come to mind from 3.5 decades?
no, well, shit, man. I wish I wasn't more prepared for this than a man on the moon. I was trying to psych myself up for this today, trying to think of stuff, but it seemed like I get a brain fart every time I got to talk to somebody about it. But I can't really think of anything offhand now. As soon as I hang up with you, something will hit me. That's just how that shit goes. But, you know, no, all I know is I worked hard and it's a tough job and I took pride in it and this and that, but it's time to hang it up and that's what it did. And there's some that's like another guy that I work with, he just retired here. Hell, he'd been out there 40 something years. Tracy Hayes, that's another one there. He retired deckhand. He used to be mate and so on down the line. He retired. And he could tell you some stories and there's a whole bunch of them, brother. But Ronnie Hart's the one. If I was you, I would talk to him. That's old Father Time. That's what we call him, old Ronnie Hart. That would be a good one to get a hold of. A matter of fact, I don't have his phone number, or do I? Well, send him look him up on. He's on Messenger. Ronnie Hart, RONNIEHART. That's Send him a message, tell him who you are. He'd be more than glad to talk to you. I promise you. He could tell you some stories because he went through a bunch of them on that training barge. I promise you. And you run into all kinds of people from all over the place, But for some reason, Arkansas seems to be the state especially for Artco. There's a bunch of them Arkansas to work out there. I know that. They should change the name to Arkansas River Transportation Company is what they ought to do. But no, I'm just joking. But yeah, there's a bunch of them from that state to work out there. That's for sure. But like I said, ain't a job for everybody. Not everybody can do that for a living no more than probably being a truck driver or working for the railroad. Same difference. And it's a career, and if you choose to do it, it helped me. It paid off all my stuff, all my years I worked out there. But it had its good points and bad points. But you know what? It was a job and it was steady work. Only got laid off one time my entire life. And I took it during '93 flood, and that was a volunteer. I did it for a month because I live in St. Genevieve, and I was doing a lot of sandbagging because that's just right off Mississippi. And I'm gonna tell you what, after doing that, I'd rather been out there wiring barges up than packing them sandbags around for a month. That shit wore me out. But I tore up my truck too. But anyway, yeah, other than that, man, I really can't say anything.
Well, that'll work, Bull. I do appreciate your time this evening, bud. And now that you got Zoom, if you think of anything else, we can do this again.
Well, yeah, well, it's nice meeting you there, Tim. I actually enjoyed this. I was a little nervous over today. I said, I'm gonna have to be a good boy and stay home, which I'm watching my little dog right here. Oh, shithead. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty cool. I had downloaded that and I'm like, yeah, let me figure this other shit out on how to operate this. Because when it comes, this electronic shit's done passed me up, man. It's got to the point I stayed with it for a while, but then after a period of time, like this is getting, I got my damn 4-year-old grandson knows more about this shit than I do. That's crazy. They all do. And I'm like, hell, I wasn't brought up with this stuff. I'm the old rotary phone guy. Then we got touch tone. We was hot shit. And all of a sudden you get a cell phone. Oh boy, what the hell? But anyway, well, all right, Tim. It's nice meeting you. Yeah, if I think of something, I'll get a hold of it. But yeah, get a hold of Ronnie or whatever, or even Miles, that asshole. Go ahead and bring him up and see if you can get him to talk there. He's a character there.
We'll try and get it done.
Joe or hey, Dave Jacobs is another one. He's captain out there on American Beauty. That'd be a good one to talk to too.
All right.
He's actually, yeah, Dave Jacobs. There's a bunch of them, man.
Well,
yeah, Miles and Ronnie Hart. Miles deserves to be on YouTube. So yeah, you nail his ass.
I will see what I can do, bud. Thanks a lot.
All right, buddy. Take care.
This has been a production of Where You At Studios, LLC.